me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What people do eat no money, what people at you eat no at you. Covid money missing we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth the money waste and bust a man to statue. Say me like a cashew but bigger than a figure you. Take the skin of money gal and say that it's not you. One day the man above him look him a got a bet. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile of it.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the giver. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth them rap and they down in a whatever. Member bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
Stevie dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no keep. And some informer friend we love like. We in Global. Bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global. We not promote them. We not support them. Look at them on the cheek come here represent for. We in Global TV. Check it.
Good morning and welcome. Sorry for the late start. My computer crashes minutes before I was ready to come on stream. But nevertheless, we are here. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. If you're on the Eastern timeline, good afternoon. If you are on London and Lisbon time, thank you all for joining us. To my community of parity and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Debbie Jervis TV, Natalia Freeman, Marcia Thomas, Shadi Oban Iris, Natalia, Wagwan. Who else there? RJ, God is Real, Paula Shelley, Norman Ferguson, Bros, Elaine Turner, Pamela Akola, Beat and Teach, Wagwan, Anne-Marie, Rosemary Samuels, Abenasar Cody, Agency Driver 5, Keith Matthews, Jim Ashley, Willie Don, Veteran, Wagwan, Elijah B. No, Elijah, I only drink Magnum Fridays and Saturdays, or one of either days, sometimes not the two, or one Magnum will serve me for the weekend. You stay there. Half Friday, half Saturday. Marceline Bennett. You know, I have a cousin called Marceline Bennett as well. She lives in Porus, Manchester. Ralston Henry. Melda Ennis on Facebook. Thank you for joining. Welcome. Young DT World, Wagwan. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. The government assault and gangs. The government assault and gangs. How can we be sure, though, Errol Brown, that there aren't extrajudicial killing by the police in this assault and gang? How can we be sure that people are not killed for mistaken identity, wrong affiliation, or mistaken affiliation to particular gangs or group? Ladybug, how are you? Because this assault across the country by the government really don't sit well, given how we know our police behave, how corrupt they are, Michelle Lewis Wilson. It really doesn't sit well. In a moment, I will play for you the clip from Clarendon of that young man that the police murdered as one of the shooter in the massacre of Cherokee Lane. But the family and the community have a different story. But before we continue over there, so thank you, Fitzbailey, but no thanks. When a poor people picnic, them face get plattered and slattered all over the media. We want to know who the big, tough, old, long time, soon dead, soon get pension man them were still involved in a Jamaica worse crime. And if them big, dirty, scruffy man there, I spend so much on drugs, Fitzbailey, they must have a weapon apparatus and a fleet of bad men aligned to them. So we want to know more. You see, just like how on a ton every stone in a cherry tree lane, Fitzbailey, fix. We want every stone and gravel up a Havendale turn over. And we know all of the connection them, the gun them where the drugs man them buy, the bad man them were aligned with the drugs man them. How much people life lost because of these connections. Yeah. We not go after the gangster them, street and lane. Please let us see the same effort for the Havendale drugs dealer. Let us see the same efforts as well for the murderer who assassinated Dean Shaw. Let's listen to Fix.
2024, members of the Firearm and Narcotics Investigation Division within CTOC executed a raid at 2 Riverside Drive, Avondale, Kingston 19, which resulted in the seizure of a large quantity of cocaine and the arrest of 5 male Jamaican nationals. The persons arrested are all from Kingston addresses. Those arrested are 57-year-old Clive Roy Davis, 58-year-old Colin Ricketts, 51-year-old George Sterling, 42-year-old Clayton Peart, and 72-year-old Juna Aldane. During the operation, a Toyota IAS vehicle and a 2-story concrete dwelling were searched, where the police discovered several knitted bags containing packages with a white powdery substance suspected to be cocaine. The substance weighed 2,526 kilograms, or just over 5,569 pounds, and has an estimated street value of just over $75 million US. The accused who have been interviewed in the presence of their lawyers, remain in police custody after they were charged on Friday, August 16, 2024, for possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, trafficking in cocaine, and conspiracy. The court dates are still being finalized. This seizure represents the largest on record in Jamaica's history.
Why can't their photographs be published though? Fix. It begs to ask the question, why their photograph is not being published? They have been charged. And
Steve Smith's
how
mother
the criminal
recounting the
justice
ordeal of spending
system works, fix. Once people are charged of such serious crimes, they ought to be published. Well, Dr. Chang disbursed a whole container than facts. In 2021, when they have a lockdown, Dr. Chang disbursed a whole container of AK-47 right there in Flanker. Load 3 buses sent somewhere else in Jamaica. Yes, that criminal, Dr. Chang, who leads our national security. The Dr. Chang who cannot go to America to sit down and have security conversation with his counterparts. The Dr. Chang who there is possibly a seal indictment in America waiting for Dr. Chang. There may be also an arrest warrant waiting for Dr. Chang. Yes, if Andrew dies tomorrow morning, that criminal becomes your prime minister. That gangster, that murderer, Dr. Horace Chang, becomes your prime minister if Andrew dies tomorrow. So you see where we at. One mass thief around the thing now. And should the mass thief buck him foot and pitch over, then what we have coming next is a mass murderer, Dr. Horace Chang. What a good look for Jamaica, my people. But same way, you can blow up the thing when a poor people picnic. Blow it up when on a big friend them, on a big old rusty fathers and grandfather friend them. These are not some like a young careless boys. But when it comes to crime in Jamaica, you would think say the way all the media and them talk about it, and them young not have nothing to do, unemployed, feckless ghetto boys do them something there. No, it's the very upper echelons of society that really fund and sponsor crime in our country for the last 50 years. Crime is not a poor people thing. But the Prime Minister has unleashed its death squad across the country, assassinating young men extrajudicially in their way across the country. And I don't hear no outbraw because JFJ come out and talk, John Clark, I wholly disagree with you. I wholly disagree with you, John Clark. I take a totally different line from this line that you are taking with the government to extrajudicially go around the country, John Clark, and murder people picnic. I do not. Hold on. I need to reverse a bit. I do not agree with it. I do not agree with it. Chairman of the Jamaicans for Justice, John Clark, says the organization support any moves the security forces to rein in crime as long as the efforts are in line with the rule of law. So are you saying, Mr. Clark, the wanton killing that we see the police carrying out since the Prime Minister called for an assault and gang, your colleague wasn't of that view? Your colleague thought the Prime Minister was making bad man targets, government badness or state badness, as she referred to it. But you seem to, Mr. Clark, take a view aligning to the government, human rights and human rights abuse and extrajudicial killing. We can't just jump, come here, the PNP, them a jump behind the government willy-nilly to enter this thing, you know. But we don't hear nobody a jump behind the government to clean up corruption, to expose the illicit 8+. Expose the illicit 8+. But PNP, John Clark, and everybody want to jump behind the government to use whatever draconian measure they want to use in the name of curbing crime. If you have not curbed it in 8 years with your draconian measures of ZOZOs and SOE, it's not going to happen with this one incident. But the PR blunder of this crime, the PR blunder, and I know we don't know if Horace Chang gun, Babsy Grange gun are involved, Prime Minister, in the Cherokee Lane massacre. It's a question that all of us must ask. I'm surprised of John Clark, young DT, really surprised of John Clark. Really surprised of him, but that's for another day. But I'm really surprised that John Clark could have come out and defend a crooked criminal government, which John Clark themselves carry a lot of fundamental right abuse against this government, Jason Kane. So to come out and throw in your weight behind the government, Mr. Clark, when the government has unleashed a death squad across the country, where they can just shoot anybody, put gun upon them. We've seen evidence where our police take young man out of them house, carry them round a back, kneel them down, pump bullets into them, and then cry out, shoot out. How do we know it's not the same situation that happened in Clarendon with this incident that's going to come up on screen now? How do we know? The police have one side.
Steve Smith's mother recounting the ordeal of spending the past 5 days without her son.
I never know if I explain this to you. I tell you, from Wednesday when it happened, I don't eat. I drink water and collect when I drink Cersei. And I understand a cruel act, man, a cruel act, me I tell you. And I understand, but you know, God knows everything best. You understand me? I say, I tell you the truth, I never know if I explain this to you. I never know if I explain to you. I know if I murder me pick.
Murder, because Smith's family members say unless he could be in two places at once, there is no way their relative could be connected to the Cherry Lane shooting. In fact, they say he had one of the strongest alibis.
We know that Sunday, same day the football match up by husband's store, the Super League, and he was the one playing and one little car's sound where they buy. So my question would be to the justice system, how is he connected to one murder in Cherry Tree when he was at husband store in a football match.
Playing the music.
Playing the music.
I get a call and said shoot out that churchy. And I said, but then turn up a churchy, we then shoot out, we then just saw a match already. And then while somebody got to him and said, come, we'll come off Fire Road. And he said, all right. And he plug off his tablet off Fire Road, off his son, and head to his yard.
Reports had indicated that Smith, who was on the police's radar for several murders and other illicit activities, was killed during a police military operation in Osborne Store after he challenged the security.
If he was on the police radar, if he was wanted in connection with other shootings, it doesn't seem as if he was someone who was hiding from the police. He doesn't seem to be someone who was hiding from the police. It not seem like one of them gangster, gunman, or badman will live in a bush, were wanted by police. So how all along him wanted for all of this thing them, and uno no do nothing for bring him in, but uno use this incident to shoot him down. It don't make sense.
Security forces in a shootout. They also said a firearm was recovered from him. However, the victim's family refuted those reports.
They come in a 2 private car. When they come in a car, they run out. Me think a gunman when they run out of the car, ground there. So say, where one day in a blue, where one day in a blue. All right, then search the young lady house. They don't find them. Go in a cousin house where in a wheelchair there and find man say, are you mo come from? And drive come right at the gate and turn back with him. Go back round her back. And then beat him first and then me a shot. No, not no shootout. Then bust one first out of an illegal gun. And then they use their license firearm and kill him and then they say a shootout.
Now, as they look to bury their relative, the family members say they're hoping justice will be served. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
How do we know the police isn't lying? How do we know that the police killed a young man in cold blood? Who's there to tell us the truth? Because the police have one side, a story, the family have one side. And because me know and understand for the police, I'm going to tend to take the family's side of the story. Because if the young man was wanted by the police, if the young man had been involved and is connected with so much shooting, him never seemed to be somebody who is hiding from the police. So why, after being involved in so much shootings, the police all this time never do all they can to bring this young man in? But conveniently the government release its death squad across the country. The police can shoot down any young man and say there's a
Steve Smith's mother recounting the ordeal of spending the past 5 days without her son.
I never know if to explain this to you. I tell you, from Wednesday when it happened, I don't eat. When I drink water and collect when I drink Cersei. And I said, a cruel act, man, a cruel act, me I tell you. And I understand, but you know, God knows everything best. You understand me? I say, I tell you the truth, I never know if to explain this to you. I never know explain to you. I know if I murder, they murder me picnic.
Murder, because Smith's family members say unless he could be in 2 places at once, there is no way their relative could be connected to the Cherry Tree Lane shooting. In fact, they say he had one of the strongest alibis.
We know that Sunday, same day the football match up by husband store, the Super League, and he was the one playing and one little car's son where they buy. So my question would be to the justice system. How is he connected to a murder in Cherry when he was at Asban store in a football match?
Playing the music.
Playing the music.
I get a call and said shoot out that churchy. And said but then turn up a churchy with them shoot out with the yes so match already. And then once somebody got to him and said come off our road. And he said alright. And plug off his tablet off our road, off our son and head to his yard.
Reports had indicated that Smith, who was on the police's radar for several murders and other illicit activities, was killed during a police
Several murders and other illicit activity. Why the police never look for Steve Simmet all this time? Steve Simmet out there play football and play music. Why the police, after this young man, them claim involved in so much murder and shooting and illicit activities? All the police them have him a walk up and down in a 4-part suck, and nobody never care about bringing him into justice until a death squad is released. But if the people of Clarendon, where they claim he was at that football, if you don't have any video evidence, publish it to the world. Any evidence you have that can show that the police is lying, publish it. Because this story don't add up. This story don't make much of a sense. We've seen earlier this year where they went into was it Spanish Town? I don't remember. Went into a house, take out a young man, take him round the back, put him for kneel down and pump bullets in him. Then go tell the world, say, it was a shootout. Unknown to them that there was a CCTV camera capturing the incident. We can't trust these police. They've done it before.
police military operation in Osborne's store after he challenged the security forces in a shootout. They also said a firearm was recovered from him. However, the victim's family refuted those reports.
Then come in.
I wonder if gunshot residue and fingerprint, but then again, police normally make up them crime to the full length. But gunshot residue and fingerprint. Now I tell you, Jamaica have a history of there's always a shootout between police and such. Always a shootout. That's the common story. Shootout. I know nothing what we not hear before.
News.
On Sunday, August 11th.
You now listen to PR prop there. Because it's PR prop. The whole thing turned into a PR campaign to get the people across the country to agree to the government going around murdering your children. That's what this government PR campaign is about. Is about painting a picture to you, the people, that we have to kill them. Our only option is to kill them. Our only option is to carry out an onslaught and gangs across the country. We don't care about arresting them and getting intelligence to fight crime. No, we just want to get rid of them. Have you not realized the government unleashed a death squad in the country? You see, since the Cherry Lane massacre, how much shooting, how much people the police shoot, and then no doubt question
In terms of what needs to be done, we obviously hit upon political resistance and a few snags as it relates to the change in the legislative environment, whether it is in the use of the SOEs, trying to get consensus as to what exceptional powers could be put in an enhanced security measure. I believe we may have reached some level of understanding with the opposition. As we do this, we always bear in mind that Jamaica is a country where the rule of law is paramount and the protection of human rights will never be compromised, no matter.
You know that's a lie, don't you? You do know that's a lie. You do know that the Prime Minister just lied about that, don't you? Given the amount of cases the Prime Minister lost on the constitutional front, you know that's a lie, don't you? I hope you do know that's a lie.
How hard we go at the criminal gangs, the country can be assured that as a liberal democracy, as a country that believes in the freedom and the rights of its citizens, that this government will never do anything to injure that. So as we move legislatively, it's a slower process to make sure that we get the balance right between the rights of the citizens and being able to hit the criminals hard. So it moves much slower than in other jurisdictions. So this morning, for example, Ricardo, someone sent me a note showing me what
Andrew is speaking about here is proportionality. The balance of your fundamental rights against the protection of the state. It is a balance that ought to be struck on national security front, whether there's terrorism, serious crime, or things like that, anarchy breakdown in the country. Yes, there ought to be that balance. But even in good times, this government has shown over and over and over that they are willing to violate your rights for their personal gain. The court cases against this government shows that everything this government is speaking on the issue of proportionality, balancing your freedom of speech, expression, association, protests, and all of those rights, balance against national security. It is a task of governments, but can you trust Andrew Holness to balance your security? Miss Womoven Pamela. Balance your security against what he has unleashed across the country. But let's finish listening to the lie, because I'm telling you all the while it's important to listen to him lie.
The president of El Salvador has done. And I was at pains to point out that Jamaica is not El Salvador. And of course, you will know, we did something here using SOEs and other measures which were very mild relative to what, and you would have seen the level of opposition that was brought to it. My own view is that if we had stuck with the strategies that had been in place, we would have moved not just from 400 gangs to 285 active gangs. After this, we intend to be way below that. So the security force.
What strategy? The SOEs and the Zozos, which crime has escalated under them. Crime has moved into areas which crime weren't prone to because of the operation of Zozo, where it extend crime to other communities. Are you saying that strategy worked? Hey, Jesus.
Forces have now been given, after our National Security Council meeting, the directive, go after every single gang, erode them.
very, very drastic.
Go after every single gang, erode them. Go after every single gang, erode them. Not bring them to justice. Not bring them to justice. Not bring them to justice, oh. Not go after every uptown drug dealer and weapons smuggler and erode them. No. Drastic measures only apply to poor people and them picnic. Propaganda only apply to poor people and them picnic. You don't see them fancy fairs up a Havendale can be named but cannot be photographed. If I did poor people picnic in other drugs bus here, their face would be over the papers all
His
along.
father makes a speedy recovery.
All along, their faces would be all over the papers. But it takes us so long to hear who the rich and powerfuls are. The big old near pension age man them, the grandfather them. But when you speak of crime in Jamaica, one would get the gif from Uno that a ghetto youth crime is a ghetto youth. Crime is an inner city youth situation. None of you would ever talk, say, crime is rooted in our parliament. Crime is rooted in our state. It's rooted in our security forces. It's rooted in our business class. It is rooted in the 21 upper class PSOJ family members.
As most unfortunate. It said
that runs our country. But when them talk about crime, you would think a we low class, unemployed, come and get a lot down here, so involved in those things.
Umbrage is being taken to the comments by the Prime Minister that perpetrators of acts of brutality should either be taken.
This is what John Clark is supporting.
Before a judge or meet their maker. I'd encourage the Jamaicans for Justice to be careful about the message it is sending to perpetrators of violent crime. Now is a time the Jamaican society.
Hello, if you don't want to like the live, see PayPal link there, just look. Just look, see the PayPal link there.
It is looking for unity and support for strong action to be taken against criminals who are preying upon communities and terrorizing law-abiding citizens. I believe it's a no-brainer that people who are willing to pump bullets using M16 weapons into men, women, and minors. A 1-year-old was shot. An 8-year-old was gunned down. They will not hesitate to take on the security forces when in fact they are engaged. And therefore the comments by the Prime Minister was quite in order that individuals who carried out this act of savagery should either be taken before a judge or meet their maker. I'd encourage JFJ to be careful that it is developing into a rogue organization and the messages that they are conveying into the public domain, which appear supportive of criminality. I have deep respect and regard for the institution that is Jamaicans for Justice, which was founded by Carolyn Gomes, that has done good work of presenting a voice for the voiceless, being advocates in cases including Agana Barrett and Michael Gale. But I'd caution the current leadership of the organization to assess the space, because the Jamaican society is not in a mood where we are prepared to send mixed messages in terms of how people who perpetrate violent crimes in communities are to be treated within the
customers
25,000 after hurricane. Where for?
Dan Campbell, wagwan, my friend, wagwan. The issue of crime in our country is not a poor people thing. And we mustn't get distracted by these people. Who murdered Dean Shaw, Prime Minister? Your intelligence can pick up everything across the country except for who murdered Dean Shaw. Is there a connection between Dean Shaw and any of the 5 gentlemen arrested for the Havendale $12 billion drug bust, Prime Minister? Is there any relation to Dean Shaw, Havendale address, drugs bust, and the 5 arrested? How come your intelligence run out of eye and ears, Prime Minister, when you get over Dean Shaw area? Because don't forget, say, by daylight, you know who do the crime down at Cherry Tree. You know foreign people involved. You know, say, prisoner involved. You know, say, gang, outlaw, and all boat involved. How come your intelligence, eye, ears, and mouth shut off over Dean Shaw? Who murdered Dean Shaw, Prime Minister? What's the motive of Dean Shaw's assassination, Prime Minister? Because you're fixed. I do everything now. Wanna put blind aga. Wanna put blind aga pan armchair. Blind aga de pan armchair. Boy, may I tell you, we have hell figure two. I wait step on this year 1 year now. The new Indian commissioner is going to keep a focus on health in Jamaica. Well, let's see how it goes. But the Indians are coming as well, because don't forget, in a multipolar world with the geopolitical and strategic location on Jamaica and the growing news of the resources under Jamaica's soil, all of the powers are coming. All of the powers are seeking stronger ties, particularly the nuclear powers. You know, the Britain and the US, them they are ready. The Russians and the Chinese have came and is growing. India, another nuclear power, is also taking a deeper interest in Jamaica. I wonder, though, if the people of Jamaica are alert and aware of how they've been encircled by the multipolar powers growing in this world. Hey, I wonder if uno aware. I wonder if uno open an eye. The danger of this, though, is the crooked, self-serving government that we have with all of these people who are lobbying, for a piece of Jamaica. Lobbying for a piece of Jamaica. It's what is happening. Dear Lord, help us to wake up on time, because fast asleep, Fast asleep. For two water pan we right now, we just turn and jar more sheet. Two water pan we now, we turn and jar more sheet is what is happening. The big powers are, hey, the thieves are here. The thieves are here, Jamaica. Look pan Wara, meet and greet Tara. Look pan Wara, meet and greet Tara. But this sick madman, can't tell we what go happen when school open in 2 weeks. But look pan the two thief. Look pan the two thief. Something was sent to me, and I'm going to read it out aloud. But I will read it in redaction, meaning where there are personal or identifiable information, I will redact in my reading. I was speaking to my cousin XYZ yesterday, and he knows Dean Shaw very well, as they used to race cars together. And he informed me on the real reason why Dean Shaw was cut down. Did you read about the huge cocaine bust that took place in Havendale? That house is allegedly owned by Dean Shaw, and he operates it as a bed and breakfast facility. The house was rented out. However, he had a new booking and went there to inform the renters that they had to vacate the house. However, he did not go inside. For the previous several days, the neighbors had informed the police that choppers / gangsters were going in and out of the house. The JCF conducts surveillance on the premises and obtained a search warrant, and 2 tons of cocaine was seized. It was believed that Dean Shaw had tipped off the JCF as to the presence of the drug, and the contract to eliminate him was implemented. So, there you heard it. As someone who knew of close connection, who are close to people who have very close connection with Dean Shaw, is saying, Dean Shaw's friend is saying this was what took place. Dean Shaw owns the house. Dean Shaw was renting the house. But because Dean Shaw went to the house to inform these current tenants, which turned out to be the drug dealers, of a new upcoming tenant and that they should vacate the premises, I would imagine with given time. It then now would turn out that the gangsters would have thought after the drugs bust that Dean Shaw would have tipped the police off. So if Dean Shaw mess up me Watson all, then so be it for Dean Shaw. It's the way of our criminal society in Jamaica anyway. The tit for tat and all of the little bangarang that you know are drugs and illegal gun society throw at us on a daily basis. Throw at us on a daily basis. You see. But see the thief them there? See the thief them there were thief billions. Billions out of our education budget. We teacher them can't get paid. But them are going to grab up teacher from India and Ghana to come drop in a broken education system in September. Because we know no experienced teacher with their family now left come to Jamaica, come teach for pittance. So it obviously young people will just graduate out of university without the experience in teaching, which still need that seniority guidance in teaching. And them a take come job young versus unexperienced. So with education system, I go overrun probably with inexperienced teachers. Well, go on, cause me will call you back. Me see you call me. Will call you back when me done. Me will call you back when me done. We system I go full of that. But the thief them and meet and greet one another. The thief them turn up at JTA annual conference. Look upon them too. Criminals. Criminals that we endure with. Andrew may just get what he wants. Andrew may just get the opportunity for cancel sinting and lockdown sinting. Because I say the WHO a push. We're going to name it from now, the MP Galangin. Because you know, say, when they get, if them push it bigger, and we say monkeypox, all sort of thing are going to happen. So we're going to start call it MP from now. So when you hear we say MP, you know what we are talking about. But it look like they soon get where they want because the way how the World Health Organization are push it, and the way how the whole of them are lap it up, then it look like they have some control in plan coming soon, or some dismissing of our rights or whatever. But them are push this thing. But let's keep our eye on it. And don't take no jam job. No, nothing from them. Don't trust them. All of them are liar and wicked and thief and criminal. Bill Gates buy out the whole of them for do what they want to do with we. Now sell myself to them. Anybody want to sell to Bill Gates, call us. Well, go on, they can sell themselves to Bill Gates. Nah, take Bill Gates along in them. Nah, drink none of Bill Gates' beverage. You know the Marcus Garvey propaganda. PMP. Whoa, kill this PMP. Kill this. Sit down under cool shade, arrest, tired, PNP. When I'm tired like donkey in a hot sun, PNP. Kill is nowhere to be found in the country. Lackluster PNP. The whole country are broke down. Whole country are mashed down. And a slouchy old crawling snail. Somebody throw some salt at Mark Golden and his leadership. Throw some salt. Make the snail melt. Throw some salt. Make the snail melt. The country are broke down. Whoa, the country are broke down. Look there. It a pop down and fall apart. But the opposition is silent. The opposition is nowhere to be found. Mark Golden will find anything else to talk about on his social media page. He not talk about JPS. He not talk about Beryl. He not talk about loan. He not talk about crime. He not talk about the government unleash of terror in the country. Boy, murder. Look how the country mash up. Not an opposition. Not an opposition vice. Silent as a lamb. Mark Golden, who paid you? Who paid you, Mark Golden, to stay so silent? Because we pay you to speak, Mark Golden. Who paid you to stay so silent? Who, Mark Golden, have you cut a deal with? Why you cannot speak? Who did you cut a deal with, Mark Golden? Why you cannot see the things that Jamaica people are screaming and crying about? Who other than us, Mark Golden, pay you? Have you sold us out then, Mark Golden? Because if we pay you and you are not doing our work, Mr. Golden, have you sold us out? The country mash up. The country mash up. PNP silent. PNP silent. Andrew gag them. Andrew pass gag law pan the PNP. Royal Reader walk all about. And PNP no say nothing. Royal Reader just walk and grin in our face. So PNP not a word. Mark Golden, who else paid you? Look at what JPS had to parity and Jamaica, Mark Golden. Flight green car ice gon' give Mark Golden. I mean, I hear you ask where the ice boat. Who paid you, Mark Golden? Who paid you to stitch the country up, Mark Golden? Who paid you to leave the country without an opposition, Mark Golden? Who paid Mark Golden to hand the country over to terror? Mark Golden is silent. Very silent. Tone deaf opposition. Logging way behind opposition. You have not seen or heard. This government in its blunder with the JPS, where the government now OUR can draw JPS to task, it's the same government, Mark Golden, is engaged in a PR war with JPS over its treatment of the people. This should be an opposition war against OUR and the JPS. Dull, slouchy, sloth, snail, crawling, creeping, Mark Golden. Wake up. The country is in danger. The country is in danger, Mark Golden. But because you live uptown, you have never walked barefoot, you don't have to dodge bullet, you don't have to go to your bed. Mark Golden, talk truth. Up at the upper echelons of St. Andrew and Beverly Hills and what's it or other hills where Uno live. Uno ever see light and water go there, sir? Talk truth, Mark Golden. You ever see light and water go in the bougie part of society? Never walk barefoot, Mark Golden. Never learn patwa, Mark Golden. Why don't you step aside? Step aside. In 3 years, you have not done well. In 3 years, you have not motivated even the base, Mount Golden, of the People's National Party. What is your purpose? Who paid you to betray us? Because we pay you to represent us. We, the people, Mount Golden, as the second highest paid public official in Jamaica, we pay you to look after us. We pay you to represent us. What we're getting, though, is nothing to write home about. Not a thing. Nothing. Not one thing to write home about. Sad old story. The people are left by themselves to fend against one of the most crooked, corrupt, and tyrannical government we've ever had in Jamaica. The government death squad them, where them unleash across the country, killing people, children, killing young men in their tracks across the country. Yes. This is the handholding death squad. You don't have to use bad man like
The August 6, 2024, members of the Firearm and Narcotics Investigation Division within CTOC executed a raid at 2 Riverside Drive, Avondale, Kingston 19, which resulted in the seizure of a large quantity of cocaine and the arrest of 5 male Jamaican nationals. The persons arrested are all from Kingston addresses. Those arrested are 57-year-old Clive Roy Davis, 58-year-old Colin Ricketts, 51-year-old George Sterling, 42-year-old Clayton Peart, and 72-year-old Juna Aldane. During the operation, a Toyota IAS vehicle and a 2-story concrete dwelling were searched, where the police discovered several knitted bags containing packages with a white powdery substance suspected to be cocaine. The substance weighs 2,526 kilograms, or just over 5,569 pounds, and has an estimated street value of just over $75 million US. The accused, who have been interviewed in the presence of their lawyers, remain in police custody after they were charged on Friday, August 16, 2024, for possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, trafficking in cocaine, and conspiracy. The court dates are still being finalized. This seizure represents the largest on record in Jamaica's history.
It would be remiss of me if I were not to say that we as an executive of...
Now, this is an unfolding debacle at the Jamaica Teachers Association annual conference. Now, this here is the outgoing president. The upcoming president is on the floor that will respond to him over a lawsuit of this one predecessor. Just let's listen to the scramble between them with regards to this pending lawsuit.
Of the association are quite concerned with the actions where members sue the JTA and force us to choose to bring such actions against the association, forcing us to expend funds from the association to defend. Litigation is a costly process, ladies and gentlemen. The funds to defend these claims ultimately come from members' contributions. The more we have to spend on defending claims of this nature, the JTA, the funds the JTA has at its disposal to do more for members and their benefits. We have tried our best in the past not to recover costs.
Mr. President, there is a point of order. Because the Secretary General presented his report on Saturday, and then we got a hearing from the President. I recognize that he mentioned that you would be coming, but I'm not clear on the agenda where we are. That's one. Two, you mentioned that a member brought legal challenge to the association, and that the association has retained counsel. Mr. President, I think it is grossly inappropriate at this juncture for a discussion to be had as to whether or not a legitimate member of the association should or should not bring legal action to an association if the individual feels that there is justice in the matter.
All right, so I know if you allow me to speak, please. The Secretary General did have this in his report and indicated and stated clearly that this is a matter that I will speak to. So this is still a part of the Secretary General's report. Secondly, we did retain counsel, and on the basis that this is a matter that has been referred to and asked.
On a point of order, Sir President, that was raised by Mr. Simpson. It is the Secretary General's report, and as such, that is what we are to be accepting. Secondly, if it is that that someone has brought a matter to the legal matter with respect to this, there is no need to seek to color it in the way that it is being colored. The matter is properly placed within the courts, and the courts decide on this.
180 are down there. I know the 70 are down on the live. For the rest, I know that when I click the like button yet, in at the top of the link, there is the PayPal where you can do your support also. Thank you for your renewing of your membership, Debbie Jervis. Thank you.
That's right.
Road, we now need to build buildings that are suitable for public.
Portland people, listen to the lies. If you want to get irritated, no problem. Listen to the lie. I want to affiliate lies.
Use built for purpose, and that is what we're doing, not just here in Port Antonio, but we have done it in Portmore, where we are building out the Bernard Lodge project, a massive project of over 10,000 housing solutions and an urban center. And that is underway. You can go there and see what is being done. We have done it, not talking about it, we have done it in Morant Bay. I passed it today, couldn't stop. I looked over there and I can tell you, it is coming along nicely. An entire new township, the first that we have built a township in maybe 100 years or more. The Morant Bay Urban Center.
Somebody can go take
and now we're doing this small urban center, 6.68 acres of land,
Anybody will
It
know
will
where
have
the
the municipal
help is.
building.
I want a video
It will
of the
have
coach.
other government entities plus private facilities. It will be linked with the courthouse and I believe with the examination depot. But there is, my friends, a master plan. So this is not a chaka-chaka development. And I can tell you that because we were trying to avoid chaka-chaka-ness,
But if you're running a chaka-chaka
it took
government,
longer
what else do you
than we
expect?
wanted. Because as we had already completed the plans for this, I announced some other plans for Port Antonio as a whole.
Me see the John Crabbeat and teach, but me not promote him holding no abeng round here because a PR the John Crab do it for. Me not give him no promotion with no abeng round here.
And I brought in a world famous architect and urban developer. His name is Gordon Gill, a Jamaican. This is a man who has done designs for new cities in China and Saudi Arabia, Toronto, Dubai. And he's saying, I want my country to look like these places. And we brought him in and they have done a massive development plan for the entire waterfront of Port Antonio, specifically looking at the lands owned by the Port Authority, the UDC, and other government entities. Portland.
Also, you can go down to St. Thomas, go take with the 1,000-acre land where Colonel Charles and him picnic them thief prime minister. Since as you walk and look land, Colonel Charles and him picnic them thief whole heap. You can build a whole town out of where Colonel Charles thief prime minister. You can build a whole country on the land where Colonel Charles and him picnic them thief.
Is set for massive development. The first thing that we needed to do as an administration is to ensure that we have the resources to respond.
Look on the line.
And that meant that we had to settle the fiscal issues. And I use this big word, fiscal.
Big
in
word,
simple
fiscal.
terms,
Here, Andrew,
we needed to have settled the flow of public revenues to sustain a long-term investment profile. The challenge with Jamaica is that we did not, for the last 50 years, settle the flow of public revenues sufficient to sustain long-term investments in infrastructure. That was really our issue. So we couldn't take on projects that had a long horizon for return. And I give you a perfect example. We built a marina here. I believe that was in 2003. What was the intention of the marina? It was to spark tourism and get some investments into the area. But that by itself wasn't enough. The government needed to have had the financial wherewithal to sit down and plan a full infrastructure rollout for the infrastructure investment to be meaningful in transforming the lives of people so that people can say, yes, this infrastructure is going to make the quality of my life better. So one isolated investment by itself is not going to do it, which is why people still look at these investments and say, will it really make my life better? Because of the experiences that they have had. What is different now? Well, let me tell you what is different now. What is different now is that the government has made a massive investment to improve 147 kilometers of road linking Port Antonio directly to Kingston. So from Harbour View, come all the way around, you're going to have the best quality road, number one. And it is not mere...
Given that one massive part of the south, whatever highway, drop off of the earth where they Prime Minister, when you're talking to member, there's something that might happen, you know. Member say, your grandiose, so drop off of the earth where they
merely asphalt. This is what we call a utility corridor. Underneath that road are massive pipelines to carry water, fiber optic cables to carry internet, and we have realigned and upgraded the electricity utility service along the area. In addition to massive civil works investments in retaining walls, drainage, and other such works to protect the road. It's a massive undertaking. It is the largest road infrastructure development that we have undertaken in Jamaica.
Oh, Jesus. God help Jamaica with the lion story. One thing for we history is about, particularly under this government, is lion story. When you hear say this government good pan lion story, you can mark them down good in the book when it comes to lion story. But is it not running out for this government though? Has it not run out for this government? The only thing keep this government in power is a weak, feckless, limbered and lumbered opposition that we are paying at very high price. Yes, that's our country. Thank you for joining Global Television this morning. Hope you have a brilliant day, whether you are working and whatever you are doing for the rest of the day. Norman Ferguson, Dwayne Hutchins, Angela 48349, Errol Brown, Sharon Peart, Creator Universe, Raymond G, Real Sweet, Noreen Dennison, Kevin Wright, Ubuntu, how do morning, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining. Oliver Rodney. Who else have I seen? Ransford McLean. Deb. Who else have I seen? Paulette Jarrett. Cousin Rohan Lindo. How you do? Henry C. Is here? Who is here? Who is here? Young DET World, Wagwan. JPS boss. JPS a boss. Because you know, somebody can't talk to JPS at Jamaica. You don't say everybody a creep around. All them are trying to do now is embarrass JPS because Darrell Vaz investigate them about price hiking bill, which is something quite the norm in Jamaica where everybody will deal with JPS now. And it has more become, the whole JPS debacle has more become a war of word, Emil Smith Sparling. It has become a war of words between Darrell Vaz, Andrew Holness, the OUR, and if you notice, JPS is not even answering them. JPS Brittany L is not even answering them. Talk truth, on no look for no see. JPS answer them, find all of them out there, will it done, I blab them out. JPS don't look left nor right, I'll know. All the threaten Wayne Evans, how you do? All the threaten Denise Hilton, Ivan Riley, all the threaten them are threaten JPS. When I talk truth, when I say JPS look left or right, I'll know Carlos Gray. When I talk if I no see, because me no see JPS look left, Monica Wells, or right up until now. These people been talking, threatening, promising. Uno see fan them attack, Althea. Violet Watson, thank you very much. Emerick Lambert. Uno see fan them attack. Uno see JPS up in them mouth, look left, not right, pan whoever over there, a blab them mouth, I make promises, I send Chet, Pauline Russell, I make them bad man talk. When how roads provided for poor people needed in this country. Pauline, we're going to have to stand up for ourselves and together if we need to get anything out of politics in our country. Then I go just go and give us so because they used to don't give away nothing. And they used to we okay with them not doing anything for we. Delroy Finnekin. I hope I don't pronounce your name, your last name wrongly. Them used to us accepting them not doing anything, Raymond G. So they don't see the need for do nothing and they not go really do it. But it's up to us, especially like how we run out of opposition, you know. The people is the last line of defense against a tyrannical government. It is that time, Claudette Robinson. It is that time, Terry T., the unstoppable one, where we as a people, Rupert Legislature, must stand together in order to demand a fair cut of the wealth and asset of Jamaica. It's been dragged daily from under our feet, and we now get 2 pence out of it. More and more now we're being told that oil is being found here, gold is being found here, copper is being found here. Or are we going to go in a worse economic state like countries like Nigeria, who've got oil and all that you can think of, Niger, who've got uranium and all that littered France and Canada, but is in darkness? Are we moving into that territory given what we are being told of the resources below our feet? Brenda Elson, Brenda, Wagwan, Honor, Cousin Jamie, Simpson. But I'm going to be at Angar Park now. Sun never come out yesterday, sun come out today. Yesterday did rainy, and pluck up. So, road never looked too decent yesterday. I'm going to park it for a bit. Enjoy the 1 week or a few days of weather we're left in this country. Because there ain't more left to go, you know. But when Carnival done, the weather done with it. Thank you for being here. Good morning and good afternoon from Global Television.
Right way. The emotionally wounded son says the situation is made much worse as there has been no communication